Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the 12th episode of the TheDarkNest podcast. I'm your host, TDN Horror Stories, and today it is just me and the birdie boy, Raven.
Hello.
Hello.
Just the boys.
I feel like this is going to be a little awkward because it's been a while since we haven't had somebody. Like, we've always really had, like, a subject. I mean, you know, the other two episodes that we had, we didn't have anybody. And the second one being really fucking awkward because we thought we were going to have somebody. But, you know,
Right.
I honestly should have planned it better. I honestly really don't have much to talk about at all, but that's never really stopped us from making stuff go anyway. So, I mean,
Right.
I had 0 questions off the top of my head for Horror by Numbers, yet we made it go for an hour and 50 minutes. So,
Right.
that was that thing. So, how are you doing this week, Raven? How's it going?
Doing pretty good. Honestly, just been a busy week as always for me.
Yeah.
Trying to figure some things out, trying to figure out what I'm gonna do for videos as I move on. Whether or not I want to push more into specific things. I've asked that question on Twitter this week and got a very interesting response to it. I think I may have flubbed the wording on my poll, but that's just me.
Yeah, I saw
Um,
the poll thing, and you're like, oh, I guess it's this now. That happened.
yeah.
That happened with me too, where I was just like, "Do you guys like true stuff? Do you want more true stuff, or do you want more no sleep stuff?" And then like 85% was true out of like 140 votes, and I'm like, "All right, okay."
Yeah. I think my issue was I really screwed up the wording more than
What
anything.
happened? What did you say?
Let me find the poll real quick because option B was what I screwed up.
Mm.
I put building an audience based on popular content and adding your own flavor after being established, and I think people misinterpreted that. One second, sorry, I had to clear my throat. Um, I think people misinterpreted that as me saying like build a gaming channel or a React channel and then change to something else.
Oh,
Whenever what I was trying to say was do things like more glitch in the matrix stories than paranormal stories, and then start adding more scary stories to it. Um, I
hmm.
flubbed the wording. That's me.
How dare you do
And
that?
well, and my reasoning for that, as you know, of course, being a fellow narrator, certain topics and certain things
You could
just
back
get a lot
yourself
more
into a
attention.
corner. Yeah, you can back. You could definitely
Yep.
back yourself into a corner, and I felt like I was doing that for a little bit with like true scary stories. So I started
Hmm.
forcing it out of my criteria. Like,
Right.
I know people love the true scary stories on my channel. I know they're the most popular, but I feel like if I force another genre or another variety of scary stories on top of true, like I'm not gonna stop doing true scary stories. That's never gonna, because
Right.
they're like super easy to do, and people really like them. But I the fun for me is the no sleeps and the creepypastas and stuff because there's so much there. Each time you read it, it's another person like really trying to make a story, and
Right.
that it's so fun to read because so people are so fucking talented.
Right.
And listening to their mind just spill out onto a page, it's like it's so awesome. And those are the most fun for me to narrate because there's real emotion there, and I feel like I can actually put like my all into voice acting when I have something like that because it's so well written, rather
Right.
than it just being somebody's like brain spilling out like oh this happened, and like trying to narrate that just brain barf. Um, so
Right.
I'm trying currently, and I think it's working because now basically all my views have the same. I mean, all my videos have the same amount of views at this point. Uh, no matter if it's creepypastas or if it's true scary stories, because I also stopped putting true in my titles. So now basically you just have to click on it and hope for the best
Right.
to see if it's like your favorite type of thing or not. I've just been making the titles super vague, like scary stories from the woods and like scary stories on or chilling stories on Halloween night. Like you don't
Hmm.
know if those Halloween stories are going to be true or not. But you by the time you figure it out, it's basically too late at that point. You're already halfway through. So
Right.
and they end up liking it
So
anyway.
I understand. I'm actually looking at your stuff now, and yeah, I see that. Um, creepy
It,
tales to get you ready for
yeah,
Halloween. How?
it just yeah, gearing you up for Halloween and shit like that. It just felt like I was backing myself into a corner, like you were saying.
Hmm.
So you kind of just have to figure out how you're going to get yourself out of that corner, and it's really fucking difficult when something starts going and you're building your channel off of that. as soon as you do anything different, people just, it seems like they hate you for it. And
Right.
I guess I started doing it really late. That was my issue. I feel like if you start doing it now, it won't be so bad. But I started doing it really, really late. Like, you're still a new enough channel where people aren't expecting a certain type of thing from you yet, I think. I feel like they'll watch you do anything at this point.
They just expect me to upload daily.
They just expect you to upload. That's pretty much it. But with me, it's a little different. I feel like there's a certain expectance when you come to my channel and you see certain videos, and you're probably not going to click on them because you know how I performed in other ones because I've been doing it for so long. So somebody who's been watching me for 2 years is like, yeah, I'm not a fan of the way he does creepypastas. So anytime I see a creepypasta thing, I'm not going to click on it. So how do I fix that? Change it so every single title and thumbnail could be either or. You have no idea. I mean, Out in the Woods, I never said it was a no sleep or a creepypasta or anything. And basically the baseline for it of the actual story, it sounds like somebody's just true encounter until you actually start listening to what's happening. And it's definitely not real.
Right.
So I'm now picking stories and titles and thumbnails that are so vague that you have to click on it to find out if it's true or not.
Fair enough.
It's also really fun just to, like, I feel like it also adds creativity to your own mind at that point, because you're forcing yourself to figure out a new way to trick people. And I'm not like, the way I saying it that way is like, oh yeah, I want to make sure nobody fucking knows what I'm doing. It's not like I'm clickbaiting or anything, because I'm not saying it is something and it isn't. I'm just saying it is one thing, and it does. I'm just not saying if it's true or not, which is not a factor I should have to disclose.
Right.
I mean, why do we put true in our titles? Because people like the idea of something being real. But at the same time, it also then kind of gives away, like, oh, yeah, I guess. And if it's true and the story isn't that exciting, then they're like, well, now this is what I associate with true scary stories, and now I don't want to watch them.
I actually haven't been putting true in my titles or my thumbnails for a while.
That's good. That's a good thing to do, because now there is no expectance for it. They just click on you. You're basically building a rapport with people, so now they're just clicking on you for you instead of the video.
Yeah. Fair enough. Kind of. Let me dial that back to what my original intent with that poll was.
Right.
So, and I think what was misinterpreted. So, as you probably know, as anyone listening that knows my channel knows, I do a lot of videos, and I do a very wide variety of videos. I do creepypasta, scary stories, collections, and I do my true story collections, which are always a specific thing: Glitch in the Matrix, ghost stories,
right,
creepy encounters, etc. My problem is I'm finding that specifically Glitch in the Matrix videos do significantly better than everything else, based on my view count, almost threefold.
Yeah.
And I'm leaning towards doing those more. Like, I do a pretty solid 25, 25, 25, 25 across the board, but I'm thinking personally about pulling glitch stories more towards the 50 and then everything else to a 16. Just because those help, and I'm still at a point, like, I mean, as you are, man, to build a larger audience, we still need that.
Yeah.
And then, I don't know, for some reason in my head, I always feel like I'm a sellout if I'm just going to start doing specific things. Like, but at the same time, I do videos every freaking day, so if you can't find something, then why are you on my channel?
I feel like at some point you got to start doing shit for you. Like, you got to make sure that it's what you want to do. And if you feel like in your heart of hearts that you doing Glitch in the Matrix stories is what you want to do, and you want to do them more, that's on you, because you have to make the content. You have to put out the work. But if you're doing it because it's what it's giving you pull to the channel, I feel like that's a factor that should be second compared to what you think you should do.
Right. So let me add my own personal spice into the mix.
That's just my opinion, because that's the way I operate my channel, but it's all depends on how you operate yours.
If I didn't want your opinion, I wouldn't mention this.
Fair enough.
I would have told you to fuck off.
Yeah, it's like, you don't. Why are you acting? Just like, why are you acting like you know? Can you just shut up and let me talk?
I would have been like, Dark, I don't care.
Shut the fuck up.
Stop.
It's not about you.
So I do true story collections three times a week. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So would it be wrong to do two of those specifically glitch in the matrix and one the other topics? Like is that too much? Because I'm not changing like the other scary stories I do. I
No,
still do
but I feel
creepypastas
like
almost every
now,
damn day.
now, but you're still worried about backing yourself into a corner, yeah?
Well, yeah, of course.
But I feel like that wouldn't that be going in the direction of continuously pushing yourself further into the corner? Because if you feel like, because what if you continue to do this for a while and you get really big and now you try to do something else and nobody wants to see it?
Then I continue to rebalance the numbers.
True, but there's going to be a point where that's going to be really hard because you're so large and people expect things from you.
Yeah,
I mean, I
can
feel
see
like,
that.
but I also don't think you should not do it because right now at our channel size is the point to fuck around and feel like we should, test the water, see what works, see what doesn't work, see how we feel when we see it work or not work. So I definitely think you should try it, but I don't 100% think that it's going to work out the way you think it's going to work out because I have tried to really conform to what I think is giving me pull to the channel, and it makes me 100 times less passionate about doing it. But that's just me because I work completely differently from you. So
Right. Well,
you could totally
that
find pleasure in doing it that way. I definitely wouldn't want
I'm
to do it that way.
I'm a little messed up in the head. You know that.
Every narrator operates differently for their channel. I'm just basically pushing off of experience at this point because I know how I felt when I was trying to basically churn out more true scary stories and occasionally creepypastas when really I was favoring creepypastas and true scary stories were just kind of like a thing that I posted for the people.
Right.
And it's not to say that I don't like doing true scary stories. I definitely don't like thoroughly enjoy them as much as I post them. But at this point, I honestly think I'm favoring No Sleeps so much that I'm subconsciously posting it more and not even thinking about how little I'm posting true scary stories.
Right.
Like that collab for Halloween was only true scary stories because I felt like I didn't do one in a while. And I feel like people would like it. And the only reason I enjoyed it is because all you guys were on it. I really didn't care for the stories at all.
That's fair. I get that.
I don't know. I just don't.
No.
When you do it for two. No, I'm just saying when you do it for so long and you do the same stuff, every true scary story basically has the same thing happening. I was 13 and I lived with my mom, and one day my mom and I were going to the grocery store and some guy pulled out his pee-pee, and that's basically it. And then it's that, and then there's like tiny variances between each story, so it gets so monotonous. And I get why people like them. Actually, no. Can I just be? I don't get why people like true scary stories at all. Like, maybe that's just from my standpoint because I narrate them all the time. But like, I have no fucking idea why people enjoy listening to them.
Probably escapism.
Maybe I don't know. It's just not my thing. I guess it's just not the type of thing I like to listen to.
No, I understand, but people can listen to that and better associate themselves with it than the giant monster with tentacles and 1,000 eyes coming from the ocean to eat your soul. Just saying.
Basically, I like shit that has a lot of depth, like a lot of layers. Like, I think that's why I've been doing Zacharias Frost. So, like, there's a story that I'm gonna fucking ask again, and I've done like 4 in the last like 2 months of his. But it's just that he's so good at layering a bunch of shit together to make like a really, really good story. So, yeah, I don't know.
I gotcha. You're good. Like I said, I'm toying with the idea just because part of me is like,
I think you should totally do it because it's definitely a time that me and you can do it. Like, just fuck around and see what's going on. That's why I'm trying to balance it out now because I feel like I'll have no chance to do it later.
Right.
Like, I've been watching Slumber try to force 15-minute videos into his schedule is the most excruciating thing I've ever seen because people are just not having it. People are not having his bite-sized videos, and he loves it. He's enjoying the living shit out of not having to record for 3 or 4 hours.
Right.
But on the
And I get that.
and there is people like me that do love listening. I love at the point where I was just like, you know what, I want to get spooked for a little bit. Put on like a Mr. Creeps video that's like 15 minutes. That's why I like his channel so much. Like people could say what he wants about his cadence and his voice and the way he speaks, but man works hard, like really fucking hard. And not only that, but he also gives variance, not in the stories because he does no sleeps all the time, but you can one day watch a 10-minute video of a really creepy story from him, and then the next day he'll post 2 hours of just one story. And that gives variance in length for people like me who I don't always watch narrations because of the content. I watch how long they are, depending on how I feel and how much time I have to actually consume something. So
Right.
that's why I also do that with my channel as well. I've been trying to anyway. It's really hard. It's really hard to do. It's really hard to narrate for a long time.
I mean, I kind of like longer stories.
I do too because there's a lot of time for you to have like shit happen, and it gives enough time for the story to develop throughout the whole plot. But I don't have a problem reading a long story. It's my voice has a problem narrating one. That's
Right.
that my vocal cords hate me for it. So
I don't know. I can do it. I don't know what it is about
I can do it more now. A lot, yeah, easily. Like
Go on.
No, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say I'm as I've been doing this, as of late, I've been trying to get more into emoting through my narrations, getting more, turning this more into a voice acting than narration for those kinds of stories. Like true stories, I kind of stay mum because they're true.
Yeah.
And I don't want to be an asshole.
It's not only that; it's just really hard to because you, like I was saying before, it's like brain barf. You really just don't know how they're saying it, and it's different with like stories that are written specifically as like stories because people put more work into character and how the people are saying things. Like I was shocked, like so that's how I go off of it anyway. I don't know with no sleeps. It's basically like you see like, and then she slammed the door in my face. I was shocked. So you basically, what I do is I read that and I'm like, oh shit. All right, I gotta go back and say it's shocked.
Yeah, I've done that too.
Yeah.
I like to do that whenever people are like, he like quote and then he laughed. It's like, well, I have to laugh at the end of that quote now.
Yeah, and at that point, I won't say he laughed. Like I'll do the giggly like talking, and then I won't say the actual the thing at the end.
Yeah.
I feel like it makes it more fun. When you make it a thing rather than just like you talking into a microphone, you make it, because then it feels like you are acting. It feels like every time you make a new video, it's like there's a completely different thing going on. You just
Right. Totally agree.
Instead of just like, yeah, you're just walking down the fucking, and you're like, no, he killed my father, and then the next story is completely different. That's great.
Right.
I don't know. I like it. It's cool. It's fun. Hello, everybody that came here.
I was gonna say, so that was my situation. How are you doing, Dark? You sound like you are overly caffeinated.
Overly caffeinated? I actually don't.
Or you are just super energetic.
Do I seem super energetic? I think it was just that
you
I was
do.
rushing to get home so we can start the podcast.
Told you. Okay. Right.
I mean, I'm in a
so
good mood. I'm not really. There's nothing really going on.
maybe it's the positive mood then, because you just seem like you're like raring to fucking go.
I don't know.
Like you want to run through a wall right now. It's kind of what it sounds like.
Well, I've had a really interesting weekend. I think that's why. I think I'm just fueled by that. I've been messaged a bunch of times by Swamp, because he was looking for people. Because I had made a thumbnail for him months ago.
Right.
Because I was teaching him how to do Photoshop, and he's like, "Dude, I just can't figure it out. Can you just make me one?" I'm like, "Okay." So so I made him a thumbnail. He really liked it, and I guess like a couple weeks later, he had told me him and Unit were making a like an album for their band. He asked me if I can try to make promo work, and I'm like, I have never done promo work before. I have no fucking idea how to even go about doing that. So basically, he sent me some examples, and I kind of built off of that, and I also went through like what I've seen for promo work from like metal bands that I've listened to, like Breaking Benjamins and Five Finger Death Punch and stuff like that. So I was like, all right, I'll give it a shot. within 2 hours, I had a full set of things for him.
Right.
Like he wanted me to take actual T-shirts and then put the logo on the T-shirts and like edit a background for it and say like available on this website and like this is available at this time. This is available. He wanted me to make so many different banners. So I did, and he was like, wow, that was really good and really fast. Holy shit. So that happened. And then he wanted me to edit a video, like a promo video for the album that was going to come out. And I'm like, I know so much about Photoshop. I know literally nothing about editing. Like, all the shit I know about editing is like basic bullshit. Like, if
Right.
DaVinci didn't give me all these fucking presets, I would have no idea how to make my videos look the way they do. Like, no fucking idea. So, I was like, I'll give it a shot. And again, within 2 hours, I had something that I was really proud of too. Basically those like metal videos where you see like the screen shake and you see like the text doing that little wobbliness. Basically, that's what I had. And it was really, really well done. So, that was about a couple months ago when his album actually came out in September. And then yesterday he had asked me, because he had a single coming out, if I could do something for his single. And I made something within an hour or two, and he was really happy with it. And then he had I think Les Reed had tweeted out, hey, I'm looking for people to commission a thumbnail because my guy is out of commission right now. No pun intended. But so I guess Swamp had put my name out there on Let's Read's tweet, like, hey, this guy's really good. And
Yes, I actually saw that.
Yeah, and then a couple hours later, I didn't expect anything of it. I thought he might have found somebody already. But then a couple hours later, he had messaged me like, haha, hello. And this is really funny because I had messaged him a year ago, Let's Read, asking who did his thumbnails so I can commission them. So the history was still there. So when he popped in and he's like, oh. And it was like, it's funny that you asked who made my thumbnails because now I'm coming to you for one. Because I can't remember the guy's name. I think it might be Ruben or something like that. But whoever does his thumbnails, he's fucking amazing at Photoshop. And I looked at his thumbnails and I was like, I got to figure out how to do that. So it took, I think there was a year span in between. So from when I messaged him and now, I basically feel like I got to that person's point in Photoshop design.
Right.
So now it looks weird because now if you see the thumbnail I made him, it doesn't look too far off from what he's usually getting from the other guy. So
yeah, I was actually going to say that. I saw it and
it doesn't look like I made it. That's the thing.
No.
It looks like whoever he gets his thumbnails from, that's who made it. And I found it really funny that I had messaged him asking like who does his thumbnails, and then a year later I basically have the same skill to make the exact same thing. So that was really weird. So now I commissioned a thumbnail for Let's Read. That was the craziest fucking thing I think that I've ever done. Like I never would have thought that I would be making something for someone from his his caliber. Insane.
It is, and that's awesome. I'm beyond ecstatic for you.
It made me feel like so accomplished. Like I worked so hard to really perfect my thumbnails for me, for like my Photoshop and learning it for me over the past year. And just to have like, I sent it to him and he's like, Jesus, this looks so professional. And I'm like, coming from a guy that gets the thumbnails from that other dude, that is a compliment. That's 100% a compliment because his thumbnails are, I never understood how he even fucking did that because I was doing Photoshop. I'm like, I don't even know what any of this shit does. Like for the longest time, I was just layering shit and erasing and like drop shadow. That was basically it. There wasn't much to my stuff. It was gradients, drop shadow. That was basically it. It was only a couple months ago that I started adding textures to my shit and, like actually doing lighting effects and now properly manipulate. I was telling people I was doing Photoshop a year ago. No, the fuck I wasn't. No, I wasn't. There was nothing about my shit that I was Photoshopping at all. It was only the last couple months where I was like, I know what I'm talking about. And then Mr. Creeps followed me. What the fuck?
That has to be because Let's Read tweeted.
Oh, no, that's definitely why, because him and Let's Read are good friends.
Like, that's...
But still...
I knew you were gonna be excited whenever you sent me that picture. You were like, "What the fuck's
because
happening?"
he's
And
like
I'm
my
"Oh,
favorite
no."
narrator. Like I listened to him. I was literally
Right.
watching his video as he followed me. I was watching his newest video as he followed me, and I got the notification. I'm like, what the fuck? And I'm like, my thing is, right? I posted it in the server as well, and it's like, oh, because I think it's because Let's Read, Let's Read knows Mr. Creeps and their friends and everything. But the thing is, just because they're friends does not mean he has to follow me.
Right.
So there's something else there. You know what I mean? There's got to be something else. Something's going to come up with Mr. Creeps, and I'm not prepared for it.
Oh, I
Like
think
he's gonna either ask me for a thumbnail or he's gonna ask me to be in a video, and I'm not prepared. I'm not prepared. I know something's gonna happen. I'm not prepared.
Yes, you are.
It was different
Well, you
at the
got
con because I liked these people, but I had already met them, or that they weren't like it wasn't too hard for me to talk to them. But Mr. Creeps, that's somebody who I really watch all the time.
Yeah. No, you got this. You gonna rock that. You got it. That's the thing. If something does come from it, man, you're gonna be starstruck.
The funny part about his thumbnails is like making a thumbnail for him would be super super easy, but I feel like I would have to push myself to go over the top and make it like better than any thumbnail that's ever been on his channel. Because his is like the generic creepypasta no sleep type thing where it's just a background, like some creepy art,
text.
and then the red white text.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what you're saying is it probably won't be him commissioning a thumbnail.
I don't think it's going to be. No. There's no way that he requires my fucking skill. No way. There's no way that someone like me should be working on a thumbnail that's that simple. He obviously makes it and is okay with them. So I don't think that's what it is at all. Something's going to happen. I'm scared.
Don't be scared, man.
I'm worried.
I'm worried. I'm scared.
It's I've said this on a couple of podcasts when I ask people, like when you ask people who their dream narration, like it would be like a collab. It's him, 100%.
I know.
And
I'm aware.
Oh my god. I don't know how. This weekend's been great. I'm not gonna lie. It's been pretty damn good.
Good. I'm very happy to hear that. Very happy to hear that.
Yeah.
Eat. Good. No, I don't. That's all I can think is that's awesome. I'm very happy, man. I'm very excited for you, and I really hope that goes well for you. As always.
I am going to ask
course,
Let's Read to get on the podcast. I think. 'Cause I'm already.
I think he could spare an hour.
Yeah, I think he could. I don't see why.
Like, hey,
I don't see why not. He seems like a chill dude. I think he'd be cool with it.
It's like, hey, I'll make you another one if you.
Whatever Deadline just said in the chat is a joke that goes back to our podcast. Because every single time we would start the podcast, it'd be like, so, how's the weather over there? Jesus Christ, can you say anything else?
Noted.
Oh my god.
Don't bring up the weather with you.
Don't bring up the fucking weather. I hate it.
Okay.
The weather sucks.
Well, here it's like 70 and cloudy.
It is 70 over here, actually. It is pretty nice. I'm still a little pissed off because it was cold like 4 days ago. It was like blistering, like diamond nipples cold. Like it was fucking and then all of a sudden 70 degrees, and I'm like, can you just figure out what you're gonna do, please?
Yeah, I would prefer the cold, to be honest with you.
Well, yeah, because you could put on like as many clothes as you want until you're warm. You can only take off so many clothes until you're like, you're cold. I hate that.
Until you're arrested.
Until you're basically running down the street as a pile of meat. Oh man, I wish I still had my. I don't know if I have it anymore, but I'm pretty sure I don't have my Audible sponsorship anymore.
Your meat?
And I think it was because I didn't really advertise it, because the way that they did it made zero sense to me. I had made the thing for Audible's thing, like their sponsorship, and I had put it in the video, and they're like, you got to advertise it that it's paid. I'm like, there's literally a button that I check that says this thing is a paid sponsorship on the bottom left, and that thing stays there the whole time. I don't have to disclose it. It's in the fucking text now.
You had an Audible sponsorship?
I had an Audible sponsorship, yeah. It's not even that hard to get one.
On YouTube or on Anchor?
On YouTube. You could just apply for it. They give it to basically anybody.
Why is nobody telling me this shit?
So when you apply, basically every time somebody, you basically put a link, like, this video is sponsored by Audible, click this link to get a free trial on me and one free book. And basically, as soon as they complete the trial and claim their first book, you get $15.
Damn.
I have so far. See, like, I put my links. I put my links in the description still, but I haven't been getting anything from it, so I can't tell if my sponsorship has ended or nobody's clicking on it.
Gotcha.
And I don't know if I still have the sponsorship, so I'm not going to make a video being like, this video is sponsored by Audible, because I don't fucking know, and I don't want to look like an asshole. So, I think at some point, though, I did make like 80-something bucks off of it or something like that. It's pretty great.
I wasn't aware that was a thing.
Yeah. I'm going to try to renew it and see what I can do about it, because I was I think I was below 1,000 at that point, or maybe just hitting 1,000, so maybe I'll have a better chance with it now. I don't know. Because I know Gothic Rose did it, and that's why I did it, because I saw that she was basically the same size as me. I'm like, you can get an Audible sponsorship at our size? I didn't even know that.
I'm going to go and find all, like, the malware Android games and get them to sponsor me.
Raid Shadow Legends.
Oh, no, I'm talking worse. I'm talking, like, Voodoo games, like the developer Voodoo, who just makes ad-riddled, you beat one level, here's 7 ads.
Oh my god, I hate those. Or you get the fucking people, whatever fucking app developer makes those carving games where, like, wood carving or wood burning or ice shaving or ice carving, and they're all the same fucking game, but they're just different things, and you get an ad every 20 seconds.
Yep. Oh, you shaved off 10% of the wood. Here's 3 ads.
The issue, the funny part about that is that there is one. I think it was the wood carving. I really enjoyed that one, and
same.
And I paid the $2 just to get the no ads, because it was permanent. So I was like, fuck it. And I loved it so much. I played that shit all the time. It wasn't a long game. Like, I beat it really fast, but it was just really therapeutic.
Right. The one, because the one I played. Oh, I feel like it was like 5 things. Like, you could make 5 things, and you sold them, quote unquote, to the customers, so you could buy more paint to paint the wood.
No, mine was the more accurate you got the carving, the more money you would get, and you would be able to buy more tools to carve better or carve more precisely, and you would be able to get different the brushes or something, or sandpaper, like different quality sandpaper, so that you can sand it differently, and it would look more polished at the end of it. The only thing I didn't like about it is you were required to paint it, and I didn't like that. I thought, like, if I thought something looked good, I didn't want to paint it, but it required me to paint it, and I didn't like it. I don't know, Raven.
That was terrifying. Bro, we're
we're live, right?
We're 33 minutes in, and you've already lost your mind.
Oh.
Please help me. I'm scared.
So, I'm really upset. Sean Connery died.
So did Alex Trebek.
Really? Oh, that's what he... My mom was saying, like, Pat Sajak died. I'm like, no,
No.
What? And
No.
she was like, which was the one from Wheel of Fortune? I'm like, Pat Sajak.
It wasn't Pat Sajak.
But it's Alex Trebek. Yeah. And she kept saying the Wheel of Fortune guy, and I couldn't remember the fucking guy's name.
But Pat Sajak is Wheel of Fortune guy. It's the Jeopardy guy.
Alex Trebek is for Jeopardy? I thought he was another Wheel of Fortune
Trebek
guy.
is the Jeopardy guy.
I don't know. I don't watch game shows.
I used to at my grandma's.
No,
house
that's why
during
I
the
was
day.
so confused, because she kept saying Wheel of Fortune, so I kept saying Pat Sajak. And she was like, no, that's not him, the Wheel of Fortune guy. I'm like, Pat Sajak. No, Wheel of Fortune. Pat Sajak. If she would have said Jeopardy, I wouldn't. I honestly, I didn't remember fucking Alex Trebek, what his name was, but I knew it wasn't fucking Pat Sajak or Wheel of Fortune or anything like that. But I kept fucking. She kept saying Wheel of Fortune. I'm like, Pat Sajak, and she's like, no, the other Wheel of Fortune guy. I'm like, there is. That you would be going back into like the fucking 50s or 60s, and that's not Pat Sajak. I don't even remember who that was. Oh my god.
See who hosted Wheel of Fortune back then. Keep talking.
But yeah, Sean Connery died, man. I was so upset.
Yeah, no, it wasn't. I hadn't heard much from him. I'm like,
no, he
hasn't
hasn't
been in
done
the news
much
for a while.
in the last like 10 years, so he hasn't really been in anything. But still, fuck,
Right.
that sucks, man.
I agree. It
So
is
upset.
depressing.
Speaking of spy movies, me and my girlfriend watched another spy movie this weekend called Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy.
Okay.
It was alright. I was honestly expecting more. It was one of those movies you watch the trailer and basically all the exciting things that happened in the movie were in the trailer. Yeah, the movie was so convoluted. The real issue with it is that they kept going forward and back in time, like timelines and shit, but there was no clear indication as to when this was happening. So you're like, but he died. Oh, I guess it's the past. Like, no, he came back. What? How? I don't know. He just did. Like, okay. That happened for 2.5 hours, and I was so fucking confused. And I really feel like if they just shrunk the time down to how long the movie was and just stuck to a single fucking like thing, it would have been fine, because they had an all-star cast for real. Like they had Benedict Cumberbatch, they had fucking Gary Oldman, they had what was his name? Tom Hardy. Tom Hardy was in it. They had
Wow.
who else was in it? The fucking I can't remember his name, but Captain America, the guy, in the first Captain America, the old little German scientist who created all the weapons. That guy, like he was in it. Like there were so many good people in that fucking movie. There's got to be more. There's got to be more. Colin Firth. Colin Firth was in it. John Hurt was in it. There were so many good actors in that movie. All-star cast. They did an amazing job.
Did they all die in the first 5 minutes?
A couple of them did.
Okay.
John Hurt did.
I say, were they pulling a Bryan Cranston in the Godzilla movie situation? Dead in the first 20 minutes?
Oh, I was
even
so
though he
upset at that
like,
because I
all
was
over the
really
commercials?
I was really excited to. Oh, Mark Strong. Mark Strong was also in it. That's a fucking crazy cast of people.
Right. That's
insane.
Tom Hardy and Colin Firth? What?
Yeah, well, in 2011, Tom Hardy wasn't really
Fair enough.
too big, and neither was Benedict Cumberbatch. But they were still top class actors at that point. They just weren't recognized as such. So they were still amazing.
Right.
And I think that's one thing is like you get all of these people who are really, really good at it, and they do an amazing job, but the director just has no fucking idea what they're doing. And I bet you while they were filming, everything made sense.
Right.
But when they edited it, they fucked the whole thing up. A good representation of an all-star cast and an amazing articulated movie is Knives Out. Knives Out is one of the best movies of 2019, and it has a fucking insane cast. Like, they got Jamie Lee Curtis. They got fucking... I don't know why they keep saying Joseph Gordon-Levitt. He's not in the movie at all.
That's a really strange actor to be hung up on.
I'm seeing him in the fucking cast, and he's not in the movie. But they got Chris Evans, they got Daniel Craig, they got fucking Christopher Plummer, they got Don Johnson, Lakeith Stanfield. They have all of these crazy... Michael Shannon, they have all these fucking crazy people. And the movie's amazing. The movie's absolutely fucking amazing. It's so good. It's just Clue. It's just a Clue movie. But it's great. It's great the way they do it. And you also get Daniel Craig doing a fucking... a southern, like jerk type of accent, you know? Like it's like Old English meets Southern. It's great. It's so good. It's like I do declare like that. That's how
Oh,
that.
jeez.
Yeah, he does that the
From
whole movie.
Daniel,
It's Daniel Craig
from
doing it the
Daniel
whole time.
Craig.
He's like I do declare.
That's different.
It's not at all what you think Daniel Craig's gonna do, but he does it so good. And he talks like so like vaguely and old timey.
It's Clue on speed.
I heard something that you have a regurgitative reaction to Miss Truden. That's the way he talks the whole time. And it's great.
That's weird.
It's so good. It's Clue on speed. Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
It's so good though. Definitely watch it if you haven't. It's a really, really good movie. It's also you get to watch Chris Evans be an asshole, which is not all the time. Except Scott Pilgrim. But still. Chris Evans is an asshole when you've seen him in the last 10 years as one of the most stoic and heroic people ever.
I forgot he was in Scott Pilgrim.
Yeah, he was a fucking asshole.
It's been a while since I've seen that movie.
That movie's also good. If nobody's ever seen it, what are you doing? That movie's great.
That was actually the first movie I saw on Blu-ray.
Really?
Yeah, I worked at
I don't
Blockbuster.
remember. I don't remember what the first movie I saw on Blu-ray was, but I know it took me a long time to put two and two together that Blu-ray was that much better than DVD, to the point where I started switching to buying those rather than having DVD because I didn't know. I had no idea.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'd gotten DVDs and I was fine with watching DVDs, and then it was Kingsman. It had to have been Kingsman.
Okay.
I had bought the first Kingsman or I had gotten the first Kingsman on Blu-ray after it came out, and I think I had just gotten an Xbox One, so I actually had an ability to play it, and I put it in. I'm like, let's see how this looks, and I'm like, Jesus Christ, this looks like just like the theater. What the fuck? And I was like so confused. I'm like, how have I gone this long? And I had the DVD version. I popped the DVD version in just to see how different it was. There was no contest. No contest.
I remember I was living at Patience's stepdad's at the time with her way back. This is like right after we both graduated high school because he bought a Blu-ray player because his DVD player died. So he's like, screw it, I'm buying a Blu-ray. And I remember I rented Scott Pilgrim from Blockbuster because I worked there at the time. And I was amazed.
Yeah,
it was
it's
so
crazy.
colorful.
It's crazy different. The clarity, the lack of noise.
Yeah,
the
I think
colors.
it's the lack of noise.
I think the lack of noise definitely got me because I didn't realize how much noise was in DVDs until like I saw Blu-rays and realized how fucking clear the picture was. It was like you went from old style like optical shit and then just went to HDMI. It was crazy different.
That's what I'm saying, man. You got to think like you're talking about that to Blu-ray. Could you imagine how? I mean, I guess we probably both know it. Maybe not you. You are a little younger. The different like going from VHS to
I was
DVD.
just about to say that. No, when I was younger, we couldn't afford DVDs. We only had what we had on VHS, and that was basically it.
Right.
And we would rent from Blockbuster, and our local Blockbuster really didn't switch over to majority of DVDs for a while. So we basically just kept renting VHS tapes, and I remember like the rewinding and like I was young, and I still messed with VHS tapes later in life, but I mean I still have my old VCR in my closet, but I remember I was watching, God, I can't even remember. I think it was Harry Potter. I think I had Harry Potter on VHS, and then for Christmas I had gotten a little figurine that I got in the DVD set that came with a little figurine in it of Harry Potter, and my mom handed it to me, and I'm like, oh, this is cool. I mean, I already have the movie, and she's like, yeah, but now you have it on DVD. I'm like, I don't know what this means. And DVDs had already been a thing, but I didn't know what they were. So she was like, no, but we also got you this, and she had gotten me a VCR/DVD player. So now I could play all of my VHS tapes and then any DVD that she got me afterwards. So it was really, really fucking cool. So I popped it in, and I'm like, all right, so do I have to rewind it first? And she's like, Never again, actually. And I was like, what does that mean? I was like, do you have to, put it in, and then is it already rewound? Like, is it good? Is it new? And because I was used to like thrift store VHS tapes or
Right.
or something from
Trust me.
Blockbuster that didn't rewind before. Um,
I know how that feels, man.
yeah.
Trust me.
So, but this was a brand new DVD, something I never had used before, and I popped it in. She's like, "No, just pop it in, and here's the remote." I'm like, "What? Remote?"
You put it in and hit play.
Then you
Like,
hit play.
cool.
No, this was. I remember it being really confusing, and
Right.
I hit play, and instantly, all of the shit I didn't know I hated about VHS tapes hit me in the face as I saw how more clear the fucking picture was, and how clear the sound was coming out of the TV. I remember the sound difference more than anything. I remember how I didn't realize how like distorted VHS tape sounds were compared to a DVD's.
You mean that static's not part of the movie?
I didn't know that. I didn't
I mean,
know that.
it's not supposed to sound like it's like this.
Yeah, apparently not. Because then I watched Harry Potter. I remember thinking, I'm like, at this point, I don't feel like I've watched Harry Potter until I watched it on DVD. Because at this point, when Harry Potter came out, it was 2002. I was still really fucking young, so I didn't actually get to really watch it. We had went to the theater when I was a baby, but I don't fucking remember it. So I didn't actually get to watch the movie until I was given the VHS. So my first real high quality experience with Harry Potter was on DVD.
That makes sense.
I mean, I caught every other movie after that in theaters, every single one, and I've seen them like 3 or 4 times in theaters, 1,000 times on DVD.
Right.
And I just watched Sorcerer's Stone again for the first time in like 2 or 3 years because I was like, you know what? I think I've watched Harry Potter enough, so I like stopped watching it for like 3 or 4 years. And last night I'm like, I really want to watch the Sorcerer's Stone. I'm like, I love this fucking movie, and it ended. I'm like, I gotta watch all of them now.
That's why you can't watch Lord of the Rings, man.
I mean, I'll be honest. I'm not huge into the Lord of the Rings.
I don't really like Harry Potter.
I mean, that is a crossroad that a lot of people hit.
Right, I know.
Like it's basically Star Trek, Star Wars, Harry Potter, Lord of the Rings. Like
Breaking Bad, Walking Dead.
Yeah, exactly. There is those rivals there, and I don't really know why, because Lord of the Rings can't be like even farther from Harry Potter. The
Breaking
Walking
Bad
Dead is nothing like. Like, it makes no sense. I mean, I get Star Trek and Star Wars because they're both based in like space. That makes sense. But everything else, I never understood why there was this huge conflict between why, like, oh no, I like Lord of the Rings. Fuck Harry Potter. How about you watch Lord of the Rings? Harry Potter exists. Like, just like,
I mean,
so I don't like Lord of the Rings, but I don't care if like somebody puts it on. Like, I'll sit there while it's there. Like, I'm not gonna say like, oh, can you fucking not while I'm here? Like, I'm not gonna do that. But there is people that would do that.
If I have to fucking
If
listen
I have
to
to
Gandalf
fucking
for
look
one
at
more
Frodo one more
goddamn
fucking
minute,
time, I swear to God. Like, I don't even think they're bad movies. I think they're enjoyable movies. I just don't care to go out of my way to actually put it in my DVD player or rent it or anything. Like, it's just not one of those things that I go out of my way to watch. But I don't dislike them. I just don't care to watch them. Really.
I have to drop what Patience said in the chat. She said, I asked my dad the same thing if I needed to rewind the DVD, and he told me that when it was over, it would spin the disc backwards and play it backwards automatically.
Oh my god! Oh
What's
my
crazy
god! Honestly,
is I totally
that's probably
believe
what I
her.
thought. That's probably what I thought when I was, because I couldn't understand how it worked, so I was doing all these things in my fucking head, like, so I just hit. So when I take it out, do I have to? No.
Knowing her dad, I 100% believe he told her this, and then whenever it didn't happen, he told her she did it wrong, and for probably 3 to 4 years, she thought she was doing it wrong. I guarantee it, knowing him and her. I guess.
Magicians is greater than Harry Potter. If you're talking about sci-fi, the Magicians, honestly, also, but oh my god, this is another fucking Magicians lover. You know what? I can't honestly argue with that. If you like Magicians more than Harry Potter, at some points, I did. It's basically Harry Potter anyway. If you don't know what I'm talking about, Raven.
No idea.
Basically, it's a sci-fi show, but it's way more adult. Like there's sex and like fucking and like they say curse words and shit.
Those are the same. Okay, yeah.
What?
There's sex and fucking. Never mind. Go on.
I know. Listen. I'm rambling.
You are.
But you know what I
Hey,
mean.
you filled 50 minutes. It's cool.
But with Magicians is basically Harry Potter. He gets invited to this crazy fucking magic school and something he never thought ever existed, and he was like super depressed, and he's obsessed with these books that are basically Narnia, called Fillory and Further, and basically it's about these kids who become kings and queens in another land that they walked through in a grandfather clock, basically Narnia. Instead of a wardrobe, it's a fucking grandfather clock.
That's literally
Narnia. Literally fucking Narnia. And then, but the funny part is that this is based now in basically Harry Potter. But there's stakes. It feels like there's always like, oh, this person could totally die. They'll kill these kids. They don't care. Yeah. I mean, they're not kids. They're 17 and 18, but like it's still like they don't give a shit. Like, oh, you like this character? They look innocent as shit. They don't care. They'll kill him. Like the people literally get eaten and eyes ripped out of their face. Like they don't give a shit. And there is some points where like it felt like Harry Potter, but they felt like they took it another step further, like I wanted Harry Potter to do at some points, but they didn't because they couldn't, because it was more leaning towards kids still, or it was still had to be showed to people at a PG-13 rating. But Sci-Fi didn't give a shit. They were just like, we're gonna take this and we're just gonna fucking throw it to the walls.
Why would Sci-Fi give a shit, dude?
Well, it's also based off of the book, so they had to stay true to how fucking brutal the books were.
Okay, cool. Fair enough.
Yeah.
On that one. Because I'm like, Sci-Fi doesn't really care, dude. Didn't they have what was it, Mega Croc versus...
Yeah, but the funny part is like, there's so many bad things about Sci-Fi. I feel like this is one of the only good ones besides, like, Battlestar Galactica. Galactica. Can't fucking...
Galactica. Yeah.
There was only a couple of Sci-Fi shows that actually existed that I think were worth watching.
Fair enough.
Magicians being probably the best show they've ever produced, period. So much so that I'm getting the 7 keys from the show on my fingers. Like that's how hard that show hit me. I mean, I already got Harry Potter on my arm, so might as well, right?
All right.
Yeah.
That's interesting. That show already sounds more interesting to me than the alternative.
I mean, you should watch it. It's on Netflix. It's pretty good. The only thing I can say, the first season, super cringe. Super cringe. I would say you need to try to push yourself through the first season, or just ask me and I'll summarize it. But but after the second season, it starts getting really, really, really good. The first season isn't bad in story. It's just bad in acting. Like, they got these people that really didn't know what they were doing. They were directed really horribly. But I don't know what happened. Second season, they got their shit together. I don't know. And then every season after that is infinitely better than the previous one.
They were probably like, we're going to double your salary if you guys do it right. If you don't do it right, you're fired.
They did have a way higher budget in the second season, yeah. Because the first season did so well that they were like, all right, now we can start adding like really good effects. Right. That was another thing about that show, is that I was used to Sci-Fi having horrific budgets for their shit. So their stuff always looked horrible. This show looks fucking good. Like, really good. And they're building all their sets. Like, all their sets and, like, the castles are built on site every fucking day. Like, everything about the thing is legitimate. And it looks so good. There's so much practical stuff in there. It's so good. It's like, you ever seen Merlin, the show?
No.
The BBC show?
No.
If you ever get a chance to watch it, you'll be wondering how the fuck they had the budget to build such a nice looking castle, but just like the walls. No, they rented out a fucking castle for the show. They rented out one of the biggest castles in France for the show.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I'm supposed to tell you that you love me more than you love anime, FYI.
I asked you to summarize, but you know, like, why would I summarize the first season when you saw it? It's not my fault that you forgot.
Dude.
No, but I'm being serious. Like she was like, "Can you?" No, I asked. I already summarized the first season. Wait a minute, hold on. What the fuck are we talking about? I summarized basically the whole show, and you got bored halfway through. That wasn't me. That was you. I told you I would summarize it because you wanted to watch the fourth season, but you forgot what happened in the first three. So I summarized all the shit for you, and you were like, "I know, still don't get it." That's not my fault. It's the boys. This is how me and anime fight all the time.
Okay.
She says one thing, and I'm like, no. Oh, man.
I'm just sitting here like, I'm going to take one step back, let you pour gasoline on a fire really quick.
You're not speaking truths. I'm speaking all of the truths. Every truth that has ever existed, me. Me. Oh, man. Yeah.
So this is our 1,000th episode. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that is really cool. Honestly, I didn't think it would be this easy to just keep doing it. I don't know what it is about this one, but I guess since I actually have like a co-host, like a proper co-host who is down to do it every week, it kind of feels like there is like a sense of responsibility to get it done. And it now actually has a set of people who actually like listening to it. So there's there's definitely a responsibility there now. And now it's constantly in my brain. Like any other point, I don't think I would have rushed home to try to get this out, you know.
So for the record to those listening, he did rush apparently.
Mhm. I was 10 minutes from my house when I had told you I was going to be late. And I was waiting in the parking lot for my mom, and she was taking a while. So I was under the impression this would be so much later than it actually was, but it turns out we only started the podcast like 4 or 5 minutes after the expectance, so it wasn't that bad. I mean, I actually said I was going to be like 5 minutes late. Yep. So
he did, and my thought was we can cancel if you want to, and he said no. So he loves you guys.
I didn't want to cancel because I was really looking forward to just, you know, chatting and not really having like a focal point for the thing. I just wanted to, you know, chat with my boy, my big old bird boy.
That's why whenever I retweeted, I said I'm the guest today.
I'm the guest, motherfucker. That was the funny bit about the first episode is that it changed from you being the first guest to you being the co-host before you even got to be the first guest.
I don't think anyone knows that.
Yeah. He was supposed to be the first guest. I mean, I guess I kind of did interview you a little bit.
Like, well, yeah, but it
wasn't as much as it was supposed to be.
Wasn't like
Josh was supposed to be the co-host.
I don't know how that would have gone.
No, neither do I.
Don't get me wrong. Love Josh. He's a great guy.
I don't feel like he would have been able to do it every week.
I feel like halfway through he'd been like, hang on guys, I gotta go to the bathroom. Just walked away.
Yeah.
Oh, wait.
He does that all the time. I feel like he would have done that every fucking week.
Dude, great guy.
That is Josh. That is Josh. So I feel like that would have happened every week and I wouldn't be able to do it. It would have killed the podcast before it even started. Yeah. I love him though. I love him to death. That guy is great.
Dude, I've talked to him on the podcast and I talked to him at HorrorCon and he seems like a very genuine person. I quite enjoyed talking to him.
Yeah, he's a great dude.
It's his fault that your avatar got leaked.
It's definitely his fault, but inadvertently he made one of the best HorrorCon experiences for me happen. And
it was just funny.
I didn't expect that to happen at all. Fucking even Nightmind came over and fucking looked at my booth, and I was just like, Nightmind knows who I am.
It was just funny because he was like, hey, Jay, look at this. And he turned into you, and you're like, no, fucking turn it off. And then someone else did, and you were like, you forgot to turn off.
And then he turned around, and he's like, oh, no. The fucking realization in his fucking face. You just saw him turn around, he's like, oh.
It was hilarious.
And then as soon as I started seeing that it started getting out of control, I'm like, all right, fine. I want one of you to go over there and get basically half the server or the entire server to be me. And he brought back a flood of people.
You had a solid 15, 20 people.
Yeah,
dude.
so I turned over. I was like, it's not going to happen. I turn over and I just see a flood of me just run over to my booth.
It was beautiful.
It was so good. Oh my god, I love that con so much, and I can't wait till next year.
Same. It was wonderful. I'm looking forward to it. And next year, you're like I said, if you want to do that dual booth idea,
Oh
I'm
yeah, I
cool.
think it'd be pretty cool if we do a dual booth that advertises both of our channel and the podcast at the same time, so we can basically
Right,
get everything out there.
right. It
Because
does make it easier since your booth was in the center, right next to MCP's, and mine was in the corner.
yeah, I didn't feel like that was fair.
You know what? Someone had to be there, so
I guess, but I also feel like if they planned it out differently, I feel like if the floor plan was different, I feel like everybody could. I don't feel like it should be facing towards the wall at all. I felt like all of the booths should have been lined around the wall, facing the middle.
my booth was literally at the exit door.
Yeah, what the
If you went
fuck?
to the exit, you couldn't even see it.
Like that's not at all how normal conventions look. Like horror, like really vertically facing the back part of the wall, like that doesn't make any sense. I feel like if they made it in rows, but made the backs of the booths facing towards the walls that go around the actual con,
hmm
and you just had them all of the faces facing towards the middle, but they can still be like rowed. That would make it so none of them are really facing out of the way. They're all
So
facing towards the middle, but you could just run up and down the rows.
I've been to a handful of real life tech conferences, obviously working in
Hmm.
information security. Um, and what you're explaining is exactly how it always is.
Yeah,
There are
it's
always
always
the ones at
facing.
the wall, but they are back to the wall.
Yeah, that's the thing. Every time there is one facing like at a wall, it's always facing towards somebody. It's never like
Right,
as soon as you're walking down, it goes like there's a left and a right row. You're walking down it. There's booths on both sides facing you. But as soon as you get to the end, there's probably a booth there that's facing directly at you. So like you can't miss it. It's always right there. And if you go left to other booths, they're also facing you. It's
yep,
layered in a certain pattern. So every single time you turn, there's going to be a booth and it's going to be facing you.
right. I feel like they should have made the convention hall walled off, like sectioned, um,
Yeah.
to make it feel more like an actual like convention hall with rooms. Because I don't know, like the way they had it was fine with Nightmind and the one game studio that never showed up to the con in the middle.
There's
Fine,
a
they're
lot of
bigger, I
people
get
that
it.
didn't show up.
Yeah, I
That's
know.
another
Well,
thing is like a lot of people didn't show up to their booths.
so everyone that I knew that was going to be there that had booths ended up showing up at like 2 in the morning, I guess.
Oh.
So,
So they
but
came when the con wasn't even going on.
right. Well,
Like
that was the thing.
did
Like I was,
Lucid go? Because I never saw him at his booth.
yeah, he was at he showed up.
When?
It would have been over in the evenings. That was the thing. Like it wasn't like really late. So, because
Oh.
the thing is, I thought it was going to be from like 7 o'clock my time to midnight my time, and then it was just off. No more server or no more room. But apparently they weren't doing that.
No, they kept it going. It was just the actual events weren't going on past like 12 or 1.
Right, but it did like that wasn't advertised. That wasn't
No.
stated.
Well, the only thing I could chalk it up to is the fact that this is the first one. If you go back to
Yes.
how the first New York Comic Con was, or the first Comic Con, it was horrible. Like,
hmm
the setting up for it just felt so shabby. Now, you go to a
Right.
New York Comic Con, there's an expectance of professionalism. Like, you know what you're getting into. Everything feels right. Everything feels
Right.
there, and you're the minority. Like that's what it
Right.
feels like. And that's how a con's supposed to feel. Like, you're walking into a place that's set up, not just for you, but everybody else.
So
And I feel like if
Uncle
this keeps going, it'll get a lot better.
Uncle Coco said he ran into Lucid 3 times. So I mean, yeah, he was there. It was just overnights. And then
Yeah.
HBN has a good point too. They need to do something about the instances or the amount of people in the server, because the fact that the instances were limited to like 40 people really screwed it up.
Yeah, that was bad. And I've seen VR chat servers that have more capabilities than 40 people. But maybe it was like a server limit thing of how much they can afford. I don't know.
Right. Well, and that's the thing, because it was like because um okay, first night where you and I were trying to meet up, it was impossible for me to find you no matter where I went. You
Well,
kept
that's the
saying
thing
you
is
were at the first.
the thing is I didn't know there was other instances. I had no fucking idea what that meant.
Right.
I really had no like actual idea about VR chat or what instances were or anything. I thought they were just called worlds or whatever. So I
Basically.
clicked on the first one I saw in Discord. I thought it was all the same link, but it wasn't. And it took me an
Well,
hour just to get to the right fucking instance where there was actually people.
so the problem was, based on what they said, is VR chats like automation would push you to an empty world if there were quote unquote too many people in one world.
Right.
So you were in, you said, oh, I'm in the public main instance. I'm like, okay, cool. I went there. Nobody was there. I went to the next, I went to it again. Nobody was there. I went to it again. Nobody, like, no matter how many times I loaded it. And then a couple days later, they're like, oh, well, if there was a certain number of people, VR chat automatically pushes you to a different world.
There
if you
was
go this
also
route.
a huge issue with mods. Like, they were really not direct at all. They were super vague, and they felt like they were saying robotic informational shit from a book. Like, that was a huge issue I had with one mod in particular. I'm not going to say names, but she kept fucking saying, like, yeah, if you're having issue with this instance, then you're probably not in the right one. And I'm like, what the fuck does that mean? I'm asking you a question. I'm like, I literally asked her, what instance has the most people currently? Because you're looking at it. I want you to tell me this. So, because I want to know where to go. And she's like, if you're trying to find the most public instance, just look at the instance. And I'm like, what the fuck? Just tell me!
Right, because then they added like a thing to their how-to that was like, here's how you figure out how many people are in an instance, and they circled the number on the picture. It's like, well, no shit.
I'm like,
that's cool.
All I was asking her is which one had the most people currently, and that's all I wanted to know. And she made it all about how to figure it out. And I'm like, I don't want you to you clearly have the info, or you don't, and you're just lying. Tell me where to go. That's why you're here. Why are you a mod if you're not doing anything?
You're not my teacher. You're not my manager. You're a mod. Tell me where to go. Right. Point me in the right damn direction. Don't.
Yeah, it was just her too. Everybody else was like super nice about it, but like it seemed like her was like it was ego, half like just like informational textbook shit that she was given and like splurged out.
Yeah,
I don't think she had zero. I think she had zero knowledge about how the con actually worked.
The only mod I ran into was MCP. So
yeah, and he built the damn thing, so of course he's gonna know.
Right.
He's basically the one who articulated 99% of the fucking thing. Everybody else just helped with like getting the servers up, but he built most of it because he's been in VR chat for a long ass time.
Yep.
So he built a lot of the booths. He probably put ours together.
So HBN agreed that when he tried to get in, he asked on Discord, and they were all super vague about it.
Yeah. I had to figure shit out for myself, and then you told me that I was able to actually find the instance publicly now because they were having so many issues. I'm like, why didn't... Oh, we were trying to control how many people got in. I'm like, no, it's a fucking... Just...
Well, we're trying to control the number of trolls and blah, blah, blah. It's like, it's a convention. If it's a free convention, there's going to be people that are going to come in and be idiots. That's fine. Just let it be public.
The funny part about it is that they were trying to control it that way, but I had so many trolls anyway, even when the instances were privated.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you realize how many femboys were around my booths before that fucking instance went public?
I am very aware of how many femboys were in your booth, Dark.
There were so many femboys in my booth!
Just to let you know, he attracts femboys like crazy.
Apparently, I attract femboys like crazy, because I was called daddy by several of them.
Oh, yes, and there was one in particular. Very nice guy, I'll give him that.
Oh, no, that guy was really nice. He's planning on creating...
the music?
Ambient music and stuff for the podcast soon.
But no, he...
But he was also really weird.
I think he really liked you, bro.
I don't think he's gay. I think he has a girlfriend.
No, for sure. I don't think he's gay either, but I think he really liked you.
Oh, as like a person standpoint? Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Sure.
I definitely think he was definitely interested in what I was doing. I don't think he knew who I was beforehand, though. That was the funny part. No. I think he met me in the con and genuinely started to enjoy my company. Like, that was really cool. Because every single time, after I met him, every day after that, he was at my booth. He was always around me.
Yep.
And I had there was nothing wrong with that. He was a really cool dude. But
no, again,
it was just really odd for me because, like, I didn't feel like I was that important. And then when I went to the con, I felt super important.
Right. But it was funny to me that you had a number of femboys on your booth dancing.
Yeah, it was really weird. And then they started calling themselves femboy dark narrator advertisers. Like, they were advertising my thing. Like, you like to clap cheeks? You like to listen to spooky stuff? What was my thing? Do you like to clap cheeks and go eek? Well, like, yeah. God.
Yeah.
See you later, Sean. I love you.
HBN's out. You have a good one, man.
Maybe my avatar should be femboy level of cute. Nah, babe, you're already good.
So Uncle Coco made a point, and that's VR chat breeds femboys because there are almost no male avatars. I believe that.
That's true. Yeah. Everything
There were a
that
lot
is
of.
male, it's basically like thick thighs and tits.
It was really strange to see very lowly style anime girls speaking with Maskino level
Yeah,
voices.
that was really. Or the fucking tiny white cat that was running around with like the deepest voice known to man.
Yeah.
Like the little white cat. I was like, "Oh, you're so adorable," and he's like, "Yes, yes, I am." Like, oh my god. Or the fucking toaster with cat ears, and I'm like, "Oh, you're so
Okay.
cute," and he's like, "Hello,
How you doing tonight?
how you doing tonight, baby? Want to put some toast in my toaster?"
Jesus. No, it was fun. I'm glad I found some birds.
Oh yeah, people were really keen on giving you. That was the one thing about the whole con is that nobody was a dick. Like not a single
No,
person I ever met was like the entire time was anything short of like
yep,
very sweet to me, and I was
I
really
agree.
happy about that. Everybody was super friendly, and that is exactly what the convention was like. The personification of what everybody told me the horror community was for the last 2 years, and I could not find that anywhere. Like that was the fun.
So
That was the funny part about it. Is like the horror community. Yeah, it's really nice, but there's a lot of fucking people who are very shady
just
and
to
lying to you. But
just to put it in terms, I guess, if you didn't notice, the people that you probably had run into in the past that made you tainted on the community were not at that con.
yeah, everybody that you feel like is like kind of just blowing smoke up your ass, they weren't
Yep.
there.
Nope.
But there's a lot of people in the community that are like that. Um, and
I,
that's the main issue. Is like they'll tell you it's like really good here, and for the most part it is. But at the same time, you really got to watch out because people are they'll blow smoke up your ass just to make you feel good and just basically
mhm.
do it because they want to collab with you. And it happens constantly every single day, and that's kind of why I backed myself away from the community a little bit because of how
Yep.
I found out it operates. And the convention was basically like everything I've been told for the last 2 years coming to life.
Yeah.
It felt
It
that way.
was, as you said there, it was interesting to hear Nightmind talk
It was
because
because
everything
I've
he
been
said.
listening to like scripts of his for so long.
Yep.
It felt weird to hear him talk.
Well, even whenever he spoke, it sounded like it was.
It was scripted.
Well,
Like it sounded
so
like
I
he
don't want
scripted his. No, but it did. His voice is made so well for what he does that when he
to.
talks, or maybe he's been doing it for so long that's just how he talks now. That when he
Well,
talks, it sounds like he's telling me something that I should be really thinking about.
because you said that to him and he was like, "Oh, well, thank you. I really do appreciate how you put that." It was like, what?
Yeah.
How?
I don't. Yeah, the way he talks is so fucking bizarre. He talks so.
It's gentle.
It's gentle. It's
It
gentle.
really
I
is.
feel like anything I say to him, whatever comes back to me, is gonna make me feel like I'm less. Like I'm just like, oh, all
Right,
right.
because there was the point where everyone that was in his room turned into like the little flea thing,
Yeah,
and he was like, "You guys are all so small. What are you doing down there?"
yeah. It was just. It was never just like, what the fuck, you guys are. It was like, huh, you all turned tiny. Nice. I'm enjoying this. It was so.
Is there one that I can turn into that's like that? Can I make a smaller version of myself?
Yeah, it was
It was
just.
it
He
was
was real.
really good.
He sounded really innocent. Like it basically. He was
Dude,
really
he was gentle. Dude was like I said, he just seems so gentle.
He's
It's
like,
just
he
so
looked at me and he was like, "Oh, stick bug. I love stick bug." I'm like, I was like, "What the fuck?" It was so, and everybody around him was like, "Dicks, dicks, dicks, dicks," and he's just like, "Oh yeah, dicks. I understand that notion. Yeah." It was such a cool guy to meet. I didn't get to talk to him as much as I wanted to, but
I
because
was
he
gonna
was
say
swarmed.
there was that one, and then there was the other furry one that like was in his face and like had his hands all over his face. He's like, "Oh, hello there."
Yeah, the one who was really excited to talk to him.
Mm-hmm.
Oh no, there was one that was really excited to talk to Dark Somnium, too.
Yeah,
I think it was the same one, the high pitched one.
yeah. Yes.
Yeah, the high pitched girl.
She was like, "Hi, Mr. Somnium."
"Hi, Mr. Dark Somnium. I just wanted to ask you, what is it like?" Like, it was really adorable to watch the interactions. And then Lizard.
Yeah.
Did you get to see this?
Uh.
It was when HBN popped in and was he was talking to Jack Townsend of Gas Station Jack.
Oh, whenever
Invisible
'cause
Lizard. He was really emotional about it.
Oh, he was, and that's awesome.
And
That's,
was really
something
sweet. It was
super
really
cool to
sweet.
see.
He was just like he was like I met so. This is basically a guy who came up to me originally in the con and told me he really enjoyed my stuff, and he was the first person
Mhm.
to do that ever. like physically, and it was really, really cool. And over the con, he just apparently had met so many amazing people that he watched and never thought he would ever meet in his life. And he met Jack Townsend, who is a huge inspiration for him in his writing, and he actually owns the books, and he got to meet the guy. And he had a whole personal 25. We all just we stood back and we were like, we're not even going to interrupt him. Just go ahead. Go, because he seemed like he was thoroughly enjoying it. So we stepped back, and he started tearing up, and it was like, he started spilling. He was like, I just met so many people, and I just can't believe that this has been the best time of my life, and I can't believe that I actually get to do this. It was so sweet.
Well, and I mean, Jack was telling him like, hey, as you write things, send it my way, and I'd love to read it and see what you're doing, and help you out some, and and like, he's actually the one that wants to buy the poster too, so I need to get a hold of him because he finally emailed me. So
that guy was really, really cool.
He was. So I don't want to end this talk, but I do have to go here pretty quick.
Oh no, yeah, no, I'm gonna end it here too. I just wanted to talk about HorrorCon because I don't think I really got a chance to. Publicly.
we need to talk. We need to make sure we do another one of these soon so we can have this conversation because this was fun. I gotta head over to.
Oh yeah, we'll definitely. I'll try to make sure at least every month or every other week we'll have one that is just us.
At least one every dozen episodes. Okay.
We haven't had one in so long. Oh my god. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to this week. I'm really surprised we actually got an hour and 20 out of it. I really didn't have anything planned to talk about, so.
Hey, this was good though. It was good talk.
No, it was very therapeutic just to have like a nice just little chat between me and you.
I need to have you back on my channel for another 4-hour talk.
Honestly, I would be so down for it as long as it's one of the weekends, because that's when I'll actually have the time to do it. But I'm so down for that because we did that for a long fucking time.
It was 3.5 hours.
Yeah. Oh my god, that was great. Yeah, thank you guys so much for tuning in for this week of the Darkness podcast. Next week we're having on Deadline, which used to be my old co-host for our podcast. So that's gonna be really interesting. Yeah.
Cool. So I won't be here then. Bye.
Okay, bye. But yeah, that's gonna be really fun. Afterwards we have Insidious Nebula. I finally remembered the name because I just haven't written any of this down yet, and I probably should. I know Southern Cannibal is willing to come on. I asked him, and he's willing to come on. We just have to set up a thing.
Did you get to ask Dark Somnium at all?
No, I've been messaging him, but he hasn't been looking at them. So I asked him about a collab, and I asked him about the podcast at HorrorCon. So we're in the works with it. So
okay, cool.
It is in his head.
I'll ask a few more people that I know too.
Okay. So we have Deadline, we have Insidious Nebula, we're going to have Canny. We're going to get one more person, and then after that, we're just not going to book anybody for that. And then after that, we're going to have our solo thing like we just did. And then after that, we'll start scheduling people. So we'll have 2 more people, I guess. So Southern Cannibal and whoever else you get.
I know who I can get.
Okay. Anyways. I also want to get Uncle Coco's story time because he is somebody who came up to me and Horror by Numbers in HorrorCon, and now he actually has a narration channel, and he's phenomenal. Please go check him out. He just started, and he's already better than a lot of people who are 3 times my size. So please go check out Uncle Coco's story time. He is in the chat right there. He's also been all over my Twitter, so please go check him out. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to this week. We'll see you guys next week for another one. I love you.
Love you guys. Sleep well.